Hello and welcome. Well, peace appears to be returning to Rivers State. After months of political tension, we can say peace has finally settled over Rivers State. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Wike, confirmed on Thursday, June the 26th, that his bitter dispute with the state governor, Wike and Fubara, has been resolved following a high-level peace meeting hosted by President Bola Tinubu at the presidential villa in Abuja. Wike, who spoke after the closed-door session attended by Fubara, members of the Rivers State House of Assembly, and other political leaders, said both parties had agreed to end their differences and work together. Governor Fubara also confirmed the outcome of the meeting, stating that an understanding had been reached to prioritize peace in Rivers State. Take a lesson now to both men.
All agreed to work together with the governor, and the governor also agreed to work together with all of us who are members of the same political family. Yes, just like humans, you have a disagreement, and then you also have a time to also settle your disagreement, and that has been finally concluded today, and we have come to report to Mr. President that is what we have agreed. So for me, everything is over, and enjoy everybody who believe to work with us, to also work together with everybody. That there's no more acrimony, there's nothing to say we are disagreeing. We have all agreed on everything. So we thank God. For me, it's a day we have to thank Almighty God.
For me, it's very important that this day has come to be. What we need for the progress of Rivers State is peace. And by the special grace of God this night, with the help of Mr. President and the agreement of the leaders of the state, including our leader, peace has returned in Rivers State. We'll do everything within our power to make sure that we sustain it this time around.
Well, now, this long-awaited reconciliation follows a series of failed negotiations that plunged Rivers State into months of political turmoil, ultimately leading to the declaration of emergency rule by the president on March the 18th. Now, during that period, President Bola Tinubu appointed retired Naval Chief Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas as sole administrator, effectively sidelining the elected leadership in the state. Now, in a bid to restore order and stability. And of course, it appears order and stability will return. And having listened to both men, well, let's just keep our fingers crossed that nothing happens. And then we'll wait for when that pronouncement will be made by the president, lifting the state of emergency. And the understanding is that that is likely to happen anytime soon. But joining me on the program right now to discuss all of this dramatic development is Obi Ndukwe, who's the president, Citizens Quest Initiative. She joins us from the Rivers State capital, Port Harcourt. Mrs. Ndukwe, thank you very much for coming on the program. I mean, you've been a vocal voice on this issue, and tell me how you feel now that a resolution has finally, been found, that both parties have now decided to sort of, work together, put their differences aside, work together for the benefit of Rivers State, for the development of the state, and essentially for the benefit of everyone.
Yeah, thank you, DEJI. Well, it's been a while. I want to also first of all thank you, for your support, for throughout this period of the political crisis in Rivers State. You've been there, and then you also supported and encouraged that there's need for peace and reconciliation. Well, if you remember the few times I appeared on your channel, I made it clear that it's a political issue that can only be resolved, through political means. It's not something that anybody needs to go to court, anybody needs to grandstand. What's the issue? They are of the same political family. It's one big family. And I know that, like the minister said, there will always be differences, even at home, in marriages, in churches, in organizations. People get to have misunderstanding. But the good thing about it is that after the period of the fight or the quarrel or misunderstanding, comes peace. And then this is not like peace for just two people or two groups of people. It's also peace for the state, because things are going to go back to normal. Yeah, the state of emergency declared. Well, to an extent, there was also relative peace in the sense that those the threats that led to the declaration of state of emergency, they were also relaxed and all that. So right now, we are hoping that everybody gets back to work, the governor and the deputy governor and the state assembly, and of course, Wike leading his own side, and all that. So now they said they've reconciled and they are ready to work together for the interest of the people, for the state, and like you said, for everybody, because whether you like it or not, people also have their own individual interests. So it's not just, we don't want to pretend about it. So I think that they are cool, with the reconciliation so far made by the president. So let's see how it goes.
The last time the president intervened, met both sides and, tried to reconcile them. Shortly after that reconciliation, things went awry. It just didn't work out. Do you have any fear that we might see a repeat of what we saw during the first intervention by the president?
Yeah, I think that there's this saying that once beaten, twice shy. Sure. Everybody tends to learn from their own experience and from their challenges, their mistakes, and all that. Seeing Fubara, I don't think he will want to go that route again and go that path. Don't forget that he was not alone. There were persons who were also probably leading him on, encouraging him in that fight, just because of their personal grievances, with the minister of the FCT. So I think that Fubara has also learned his lesson. Like I said on your program one time, he is the one who's wearing the shoe. He's the one who was given the mandate. He's the one who was elected. So he has to, find ways to make peace so that he can return, and then claim back the mandate and be like others. You can't be governor and be outside. You're answering the governor and you're suspended. You cannot even perform your duties for which the people elected you. So the important thing is, if you look at that meeting and then, of course, the presence of the other stakeholders, I didn't see any of the persons that were with Fubara on the other side, who probably were the ones who encouraged him, the ones that Wike considers his political foes and all that. I didn't see them in that meeting. Apparently, Fubara, like he had told them, allow me to do this thing. Please allow me. Don't keep, saying things, making comments that will, heighten the crisis. I'm the one who is also wearing the shoes. So I think that message, that signal he sent to them, they understood it and they decided to stay away. So I do not think, I'm not saying there may not be, occasional, differences or disagreement, but I think that this one has taught everyone a big lesson.
We still do not have the details of the deal, but one very knotty issue that I think, probably would have been resolved, and we'll wait to see what happens, is what actually happens to the 2025 budget of the state, which was controversially passed by, just maybe 2 or 3 lawmakers. And I believe the governor would, when he resumes and the entire democratic structure in the state resumes, he would have to represent that budget now to the properly constituted House of Assembly led by Martin Amaewula, right?
Well, I don't think that we're going to go back to Egypt, go back to those days of the crisis.
Anyway, I think the budget has actually been passed anyway.
The Supreme Court was very clear. It's not even about the state of emergency. It's got nothing to do with the state of emergency. It was what the Supreme Court stated. So ordinarily, the governor would have been expected to go back and present this budget to Amaewula-led assembly. But don't forget that there was also a budget presented by the president to the National Assembly.
That is true. That is true. I was going to say that. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, on behalf of the states, the military administration. So I think they're going to work with that budget. There's really nothing to bother about. What Fubara needs to do is to look at the budget, take it up on himself, and then do the needful. They don't have the time, the luxury of time to go through all the route of order, because that budget you're even talking about, the one that was passed by the 3-man assembly, of course, without the input of the 27 lawmakers representing their constituencies, that budget, you cannot say that it's holistic, you know that. So I don't think that that's it. But whatever it is, I think that they will find a way around it to make sure that they have, I said it, there's no time. They don't have the time. So they need to keep, doing the thing, hit the ground running, and get the states to function, and let us see what they can make out of the remaining 2 years that they have.
And I'm just wondering, just as you pointed out, that some of those who have been vocal supporters of the governor were actually not at that meeting. I'm just wondering, I mean, how do you think he would handle his base now going forward?
No, but in any case, DEJI, I've always argued with people, it's Fubara is emerged from a structure. He emerged from a political family, which is the one led by the FCT minister, His Excellency Wike. So it's not about his structure. I do not think he's going to bother himself about going to build a structure outside what they already have existing. Now, most of the people you are referring to, most of them were not even part of this structure. Some were those who wanted to be governors and couldn't get the ticket. So what they did was to align with Fubara against Wike. Now that the peace has come, reconciliation has come, it's either you fall into line or you get kicked out. I do not think people are going to be sacrificed. Some persons are also going to sacrifice themselves. And like I said, what they will do is they have the choice of either coming together to work with this team, or they can join the coalition opposition. They have an alternative. They have an alternative, and there are still other political parties. Maybe they could get a chance. But for now, I think that Fubara is back home. You know what it means to be welcome back home. It's something, of joy, and you don't want to look back. And don't forget, because before this meeting last night, Fubara made it clear to those people, those supporters, the simplified movement, that he doesn't want any more of He even warned the women who were praying and castigating and probably praying against Wike and all that. And he said to them, no, that's not it. You should learn to be forgiving, no matter what you think has been done wrongly done to us. So I think he sent the message, the signal, early enough to them. So they don't have a choice. It's either they join or they leave. And then, of course, the coalition opposition is an alternative for them.
So Governor Fubara has now been reconciled with his political godfather and, of course, the members of the State House of Assembly. What about the people of the state? Because there's no question at all that there's division. I mean, this crisis has actually divided the people. So what would you expect to see going forward? How do the people come together, unite?
This is not the first time. We've seen this kind of thing before. I mentioned it before on your program during the time of Amechi and Omeher. When Amechi took over after 5 months of Omeher's governorship, the same people that were even singing and castigating him and who worked against him came and joined the Amechi, offered everybody an olive tree, and they came and joined the government and became part of it. It's always, I've always said it, it is who, where the treasure is, that is where the people gather. So, I mean, it's a natural healing process. I don't think anybody's going to take it personal. The Rivers people, the important thing to them is that the state is working, is functional. It's not about and then in any case, what are people going to get individually? No, it's not about individual gains. It's about the gains that the state will record. And that's what everybody should be concerned with. If there are jobs that he had awarded and need to be completed, executed and completed, they should go about doing that so that Rivers people can be beneficiaries of good governance. I mean, they are even actually running late because other states are taking over. You see what's going on in Akwa Ibom, you see what's going on in Enugu State, you see what's going on in Abia State, and then even some other states around, and in the north, you can, so River State, there's no time. Time is running out on them. So the important thing is for the people to, the celebration is everywhere is calm. I'm in Port Harcourt, nothing like people getting angry, apart from a few voices of dissent who just go to social media and probably put out their own position, but it will not change anything. The governor has moved on. He's moved back to where he belongs. The Wike has taken back, let me call it, his political investment, and the assembly is happy. They can now go back and work without any fear or favor, and then also get these things working for the people of Rivers State. There's no problem there. The Rivers man on the street is going about, they've been going about their business. I mean, nothing actually changed apart from the fact that persons who would have probably benefited by way of contracts and empowerment and all that, if it was a democratic government, didn't. So, but apart from that, there's no crisis, no issue.
Let me just quickly ask you this: as someone from Rivers State and who lives in Port Harcourt, what has it been like? I mean, living under emergency rule, under an emergency government. What has the experience been like?
Let me tell you something. The tension was actually taken out. I won't say reduced. Since coming of the state of emergency, the unnecessary political rivalry, was actually, abolished. There was no issue anymore. Everybody just knew that, look, we are not, who are you fighting? Because the man has the sole administrator has no issue with anyone. So the person you consider your political foe or opponent is not there. So everybody went about their business and then waiting. All this whole thing borders down to what I'm going to get, if the governor is there or the deputy or the commissioners and then the local government chairman. So that's just on the individual basis. But when you take it on the generality of it, everybody is just fine. There's no thing, like I said, there was no more tension. All we saw were people going on the social media to just write and all that.
President, Citizens Quest Initiative, thank you very much for your time and thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
Appreciate it. All right, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Stay with us. Don't go away. Opinions are free. Facts are sacred. But truth is universal. How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the president of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On DEJI 360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
DEJI 360, dissecting the issues.